Shabbat Shalom. Israel is always changing. What you see today is going to be different than what you see tomorrow. If you have been to Israel have you turned to Israel after having not been there for a little period of time, there's always something that is new or different that wasn't there from the last time you were in Israel. One example of this is the Anu Museum. It's the new museum devoted to the sense of Jewish peoplehood. Anu, which means us, originally was the Diaspora Museum. And over the last 10 years, this museum that is housed on the grounds of Tel Aviv University has gone through a major transformation. 10 years ago, it was called the Diaspora Museum, and I want to share with you how it looked when you entered, and then at the end, I want to share with you how it looked like, what it looks like now when you first enter. 10 years ago, again, the Diaspora Museum was created early on in the establishment of the State of Israel. There was a very powerful beginning. And what you saw was a replica of the Arch of Titus. How many of you are familiar with the Arch of Titus? Okay, Arch of Titus currently stands just outside the Colosseum in Rome. And it was a statue, it's a column, or an arch, devoted to the accomplishments of Titus. And in that column, engraved on the top, is a picture of a group of people carrying their wares, most notably carrying the menorah as they are headed outward. And it's an image that captures the destruction of the second temple at the hands of the Romans. So the question I have for you to begin with is, what was the purpose of beginning the Diaspora Museum with a picture of the Arch of Titus? What was the museum trying to convey to us? Michal. The degradation of the Jewish people. Okay, thank you. The start of the diaspora, which once we lost our second temple, had begun. We had lost our home, and now we had to live in the diaspora, thus the Diaspora Museum. Great, thank you. Anyone else? Yeah. Amazing that despite the exile and despite the oppression and the oppressors, we still survived in diaspora. Really good, really good. What is this, the Arch of Titus? What's the worldview that the original creators of the Diaspora Museum wanted us to feel when we saw the Arch of Titus? What does the Arch of Titus cause us to think about the outside, the non-Jewish world? Not so great, wanting to destroy us, okay? And yet here we are, we're still surviving. Amazing. Brian? Something that is celebrated, and if they're celebrating our exile, what does that say about our understanding of those of the non-Jewish world? Not so great. Not so great. Sure. Yeah.
Maybe there's like a rise and fall of these other empires.
Oh, interesting. They thought this was going to be the end, but yet, well, we are still here. Very nice. Yeah, Marge.
Maybe it's so we don't forget our history.
Don't forget your history. Great. So in the Diaspora Museum, in the heart of the Jewish metropolis of Tel Aviv, we see the diaspora. What is it that we are not to forget? What aspect of our history should we not forget when we enter into the Diaspora Museum? Marge? The destruction can be there anytime. Anti-Semitism is prevalent, right? And what would, by the way, what could potentially cause our destruction, according to the Arch of Titus? Excellent. Others. Somebody else. Watch your back, because it's not a kind world out there. Don't forget the message of the Arch of Titus. I see some more hands. Michal?
Having just gone to Anu like within the past month.
Yes, way to cheat. Okay, go, please.
For museum,
Yeah,
I feel like the new museum
yeah.
much more captures the feeling of saying, this is who you were until you came here.
Interesting.
You are people, mostly refugees from these different communities, and you had a rich cultural tradition. This is what Anu said to me this time. What the Diaspora Museum said to me before was, look at these beautiful things that the Jews who were dispersed created in the outside world. But now the museum brings everybody from little children to old people, like into the experience that they and their forefathers had before coming to live in Israel, or before being tourists coming to Israel. It's so much more inclusive and connecting to the past and bringing people together in realizing it. I thought it was very emotional.
I agree with you. The new Anu Museum has some new elements, very emotional. I want to save that for the end. And I want you to think, Michal, what is the first thing, you don't have to share the answer yet, but what is the first thing that they have when you begin the Anu Museum exhibitions? The first thing you see? Hold that thought, kind friend. Anyone else about the Arch of Titus and the Old Diaspora Museum? It's not the most positive picture. It's a picture of survival. And even though it highlights the resilience of the Jewish people, the protagonist, the one who's causing the action, is a Roman Empire that is seeking our destruction. And we should all be a little bit uncomfortable that our identity is based on the enmity, the anger, the hatred, the oppression of an other. Hold that thought as we enter into this week's Torah portion. Quick question: where is the mountain that the Jewish people, by the way, in this week's Torah portion, we receive the Torah? What is the name of the mountain where we receive the Torah? Mount Sinai. Very good. Who knows what Sinai means? Anyone know what Sinai means? Really interesting. Okay. There's a word that we're familiar with that has the same shoresh, the same root as Mount Sinai. The rabbis grab this connection. Many of us have heard about one of the causes for the destruction of the Jewish people is because of sinat chinam. What is sinat chinam? Baseless, chinam, sinat, hatred. The word sinat is the same as Sinai, the mountain of hatred. And the rabbis asked the question, why is Mount Sinai, the place where we receive the Torah, linked to hatred? And in asking this question, I think what they really are doing is trying to explore at this pinnacle moment where we receive the defining doctrine of what it means to be Jewish, what is our relationship with the outside world? And at first glance, it sounds a lot like the Diaspora Museum, the Arch of Titus. There's a lot of people who hate us, and here we need a reason for identity. Or maybe because of what we receive here, we serve as a cause for the hatred of others. There are two midrashim that the rabbis lean in on, and at first glance, it appears a little bit that it supports that original idea, but when you look into, and Rabbi Isaac Kook, rabbi who lived at the turn of the 19th to 20th century, he reads into these midrashim and says, wow, you are all missing something big about how we should understand the relationship of the Jewish people and the world around us. Midrash number 1, and many of you are familiar with these midrashim. When it came time for the Torah to be received, all of the mountains of the world lined up saying, pick me, pick me, pick me. Mount Moriah in Israel said, I should be the one of where, because I'm the place where the story of the Akedah, the binding of Isaac, took place. I'm going to be the capital of Israel that David is going to conquer. It should be me, the place where we receive the Torah. And by the way, if you think about it, when we go to Jerusalem, or we go to Israel, shouldn't it make sense? When we go to Jerusalem, this is the place we receive the Torah. But no, we say, no, actually, you go south in the middle of this wilderness, Sinai, there's some mountain over there. And other mountains came up, Mount Hebron, I am the tall mountain, Mount Meron, I am the mountain of all the beautiful trees in the north of Israel. And God said, no, 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 I want that one. And God points to Mount Sinai, who is in the middle of the wilderness, the middle of the desert. Those of you who have been to what's understood to be Mount Sinai know it's just a collection of this beautiful, unique style of rocks, but that is it. And the rabbis, at first glance, say, oh, this highlights the humility of the Jewish people. How wonderful. But Rabbi Isaac Kook says, actually, there's something really powerful about this midrash. Number one, that other mountains were considered, but most powerfully, the place where the Jewish people receive their defining document and doctrine is a place that has no one who can lay claim on that land. Anyone can be living in Mount Sinai. Anyone can be there. There is no ownership of the place where the Torah is received. Rather, it is open to the world around us. Rabbis teach another midrash, some of you may be familiar with. God says, I've got the Torah. And God brings the Torah to all the different peoples of the world. It says, hey, you can fill in the different peoples. Do you want the Torah? Oh, what's in it? Another group of people says, well, it looks too difficult. We can't do it. Another group of people say, can we make it more simple? And one by one, God doesn't give the people the Torah until God brings it to the people of Israel. And as we learn in this week's Torah portion, they say, we will take it. Na'aseh v'nishma. We'll take it, and later on we'll understand how it works. And we understand that the first understanding, periphery understanding of this midrash, that the Jewish people, what faith we have, right? That we're willing to accept something on the condition of blind faith, and later we'll come to understand. But there, Rabbi Isaac Kook highlights something really powerful about this midrash. He says, you're missing a really powerful piece, which is God was willing to offer God's Torah to all the peoples of the world, hinting that every people of the world, God saw potential that God's word could be received and understood, that God could live in the same intimacy as partnership as we believe the people of Israel with all of the other nations of the world. The Torah is not by definition only to be understood and only to be observed by the Jewish people, but rather it is worthy of all the other nations of the world. And what these two midrashim paint for us is the Torah and God wants to dwell in partnership with all elements of humanity in the world we live in. And what makes the Jewish people special is that we are willing to take up the cause, but we are not the only ones capable of taking up this cause. Read into this, then, what causes hatred? What causes hatred according to these two midrashim and according to Rabbi Isaac Kook is the feeling of a missed opportunity. I can do it, but I'm missing that chance. I'm missing the past, or I'm missing the sense that I can do this. And that is frustrating in comparison to another nation that is. The modern version and the updated version of the Diaspora Museum is called the Anu Museum. And Michal, when you first walk into the Anu Museum, what do you see now?
Well, I'm sorry, just remembering where you buy your tickets.
You buy the tickets. It's a very nice thing. And there's a great Judaica shop.
There's a cafeteria.
Great cafeteria, which our teens very much enjoyed. There's an aroma there. I don't have a midrash on that, but it is awesome.
You see a lot of people, a lot of groups of kids from schools coming to participate in it.
Yes. The new museum begins with a staircase. So there's a sense that you are ascending. And what are you ascending to? And you look up, when you see a spiral staircase in the middle, like it all starts, you look up to the ceiling, and they have a replica of a roof of an Eastern European synagogue called the Chodorov Synagogue, not related to the Beth Am Chodoros. When I came back, I said, is this your? Like, no, not exactly. And it's a wonderful roof of a synagogue, and it has depicted in it the Jewish calendar, and each month is depicted by the zodiac image. And it highlights, and by the way, it's colorful, it's amazing, and it highlights Jewish creativity. And it highlights how in a synagogue, in a Jewish space, that Judaism was strong enough to blend in the influences of the cultures from which it dwelt. And it reframes what diaspora Judaism is and can be, which is a place where if we have internal confidence and joy in who we are, there is a chance for others to appreciate and join in with us, and for there to be an opportunity for the two sides to work together, to synthesize, to actually enrich Judaism, as demonstrated by enriching a Jewish space. This is a traditional synagogue. There were prayers in there 100%. There was no Greek worship. And yet, they borrowed from Greek culture and the society that they were living in to highlight the ideals and goals of Judaism. That showed that there is a potential when the outside world relies on its best self, its love, and its kindness, and it's willing to accept the wonder and beauty of Judaism, to blend with Judaism when we carry our own self-confidence and we carry our own joy to really make, again, Judaism richer. So perhaps on this day when we receive our Torah, this document, this doctrine that gives us our identity, we can accept it with confidence, we can accept it with joy, and find the strength to open our hearts during these challenging moments to those that exist in this world who are our allies, with the hopes that Judaism and our Torah can be even better in the days, weeks, months, years ahead. Shabbat Shalom.